Morning.
Hi, morning.
Morning.
Morning, Jael. Morning, listening audience.
How are you?
I'm good. Tuesday morning.
Girl, it's Tuesday. We were in black and white today. What's up with
Yeah, we're coordinated. We're in sync. That's a good sign.
We didn't plan it, eh? Just
We
so you
didn't plan it. We didn't plan it. It was just the Tuesday mood,
Really? What kind of Tuesday mood is that?
black and white. The black and white mood.
With a splash of color on the lips, right?
Right. Right.
Good morning to all of the listeners. Good morning to those of you tuned in on Vibes Radio.
Yeah.
If you're listening on any of the frequencies, 99.5, 94.5, 90.1. Those of you on Digicel 57, right? Trudy? And those on our social media.
Yeah, those live on Facebook with us, our Facebook crew. Good morning. Those following on YouTube. Good morning.
Yes. Those of you who are on Facebook, let us know that you can see us.
Yes.
Send in your comments. Let us know that you're there and you're ready. Yes, because we are ready as well. Oh my God, it's Tuesday. I feel like it's like the end of the week. I don't know why.
No.
I don't know.
No.
I feel like it's the end of the week, and I'm
The week just getting started, Jael. Brace yourself.
Zah, like this. Zah.
Brace yourself. We're just getting started. So
Let me tell you, it rough. I didn't get to do my workout this morning. I wasn't feeling 100%.
okay.
I still not feeling 100%. Still trying to. Hi, Dion. Hi, Linda. Still trying to oh my God, hold myself together.
Right.
Not feeling 100 today. So
some days are like that. You just need to power through. I guess that's what they say. Power through.
yes. But you know what? I want to big up yesterday we had so many people reach out after. Trudy, did you have a lot of people reach out to you?
Yes. People were very much into yesterday's show. The guests were phenomenal, and I got so much feedback. I got people promising me plans. So I have, because yesterday, of course, we were talking sustainable living.
You have a farm.
Yeah, we were talking sustainable living and, the whole concept of subsistence farming. And I had so many people reach out to me and they were like, this is something that I do. And I have, do you want a sweet pepper plant? And I'm like, where?
You
The
said
child? No, I didn't say no. I said yes.
be a sort.
Because remember, Jael, I challenged you, and I'm going to take it up as well. That we're going to plant.
So yes,
We're going to plant something. All right.
We're still doing this.
When I get my sweet pepper,
we're totally doing this.
We're doing it. So I'm reminding you every day. Accountability, right?
Yes. So I had a lot of folks reach out. So want to big up, all those people who tune in, who sneak to tune in, who some people tell me some stories that I go, Jael, we listening to you. But if my supervisor passed, I have to turn down.
Some people said they were in their office but with headphones, so they could listen to us covertly. So we have to help you guys on the COVID listening experience this morning, and we hope you enjoy today's show.
I love it, the COVID listeners.
COVID listeners. We won't call your names.
No name, no warrant. It's a Carnival Monday on Tuesday. So we're ready for today. We have an interesting guest stopping by. We're going to be talking a little bit about maternity and maternity woes, and she has a lot of experience in that. A lot. Hi, Jody. Oh my God, guys are coming on and they're saying hi, and we don't want to miss anybody. So send us a message. Let us know you're tuned in and you're locked in. But yeah, we want to talk a little bit about that. Trudy, I know you've not gone through that.
Yes. So today should be interesting because we have the no experience of maternity host, Trudy. And we have Jael, who has experience. So we're
Yes.
we're going to be approaching this from the some experience and no experience points of view. So it's going to be good. Our guest, of course, will be well prepped to give us all the deets on maternity and possible woes. But yeah, interestingly, sometimes, like we said, we'll be talking about maternity woes. But for some women, just the whole concept of maternity, it's something that they want so much. The whole having a baby, that they might be listening like, what could be possibly the issue? I mean, once you have that miracle happen, I mean, it's everything is good to go, but we're going to be going into some
It's
issues.
so much more than that. I mean, talking from a standpoint of just getting pregnant and you find out you're pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Some women go through the whole morning sickness.
Right.
For my first, I had no morning sickness for my first, except that I could smell everything. So I could smell your shoe in your foot, like not your foot in your shoe, and your shoe in your foot. That's how bad I could smell it. Like it was like really bad.
Wow.
I would take all kinds of scents, people's smells, and I could not smell chicken. Chicken would make me want to like vomit, right? So I didn't have that the mornings, but for my second, that seemed like it was never going away because
Right.
I was 5.5, almost 6 months pregnant with my second, and I was still vomiting, and I was still sick, and I could not move. And I'm like, by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I needed to take a nap. I was just like, what's going on? Like,
Yeah, Jill, interestingly, I have a friend who I follow on social media, and the person was just kind of detailing their experience. This is their second pregnancy, and they suffer from something called hyperemesis gravidarum, HG for short, which means essentially they're throwing up consistently throughout the pregnancy, becoming dehydrated, losing weight. So it's like a really severe form of being constantly nauseous and vomiting and that type of stuff. And she was saying, she's just not enjoying this experience. And she knows that people might, frown on her for saying that she's not enjoying her pregnancy. But she's like, I just really am not enjoying this. So you talking about that second experience, I mean, it brings to light how people have such different experiences. I mean, and it can be the same woman, different pregnancies, different experiences.
Pregnancy is completely different. And if you're one of the lucky ones who've had all your pregnancies the same, because even not just the pregnancy, but your body, what happens to it. Like for my first, my hair wanted to grow. Like it was like they take fertilizer and they fruit on my head. My hair was just growing and growing and growing. And I got really puffy around my neck area.
Okay.
Something else that happened to me that I plan on sharing a little bit of it on my YouTube channel was that I got darkness like between my legs, underneath my arms, but behind my neck, and it just would not go away. Like even after, I used to like chew it. I'm like, what is going on? Like, why is this so dark? And then eventually, it went away. And the second it came back for my second, talk about stretch marks, like color, like get stretch marks, and people, some women are so concerned, about all the changes, and men, y'all don't even know, right? You see, for me, in as much as I got the stretch marks, my partner is one of the very supportive ones. And he was like, "Oh, your stretch marks is your mileage." It's like, yeah, you have miles on you, but so made it easier for me to deal with it.
Right.
And for me not to be like, oh my God, like I have stretch marks. And when the second one came, I stretched even more, right?
Okay.
Granted, thank God I don't look like a wrinkled bear, but it can feel like that for some women. And you feel, okay, oh my God, like what's going on with my body? Like, how am I going to get back to my, not to mention the weight that you gained, that down. Let me tell you, I have so much woes. I feel like I'm carrying my shoulder, right? You feel like you cannot like get rid of the weight. Worse when you have a C-section.
And
That's what
the recovery time. Yeah.
Let me tell you, I had 2 C-sections, and not just the recovery, but that belly that you want to make go flat, and you're doing sit-ups every single day, and you feel like it's stretching while you're doing the sit-up.
Oh.
It's just, it's a lot that we women go through. Men, I want y'all to know, when you see a woman get pregnant, I say that first before the nurse comes on. When your women get pregnant, be very, very supportive.
Right.
Very, very supportive.
I'm sensitive to their, to their changes and their changing emotions and all of that stuff, because the hormonal thing, the hormonal issues with pregnancy too, I mean, that makes a lot of women super sensitive, super emotional. And if you have someone who's not supportive, well then,
Well, I started getting panic attacks during my second pregnancy. So that's when I was, when panic attacks started to happen with me, right? And I didn't even know what was going on. Like, I felt like any little change in my life or in my lifestyle would trigger
one.
Yes. And I was just so super, super sensitive. My second pregnancy, though, I was glowing. Let me tell you, I looked I felt I looked fabulous, right? Down to the moment when I had birth, I felt like I was still like, oh my God, like I was feeling myself.
Different experiences. Yeah.
Different experiences. We're gonna take a short break
and come back with our guest.
Yes, we're gonna come back with our guest. But before we take the short break, we wanna just touch a little bit on what's been going on in the streets, because the streets have been talking.
Yeah.
The men, particularly, we've been reaching out to the men, Trudy.
Oh my God, the men have been giving us feedback like it's woman to man. I mean, as a matter of fact, a friend of mine, a gentleman, called me last night and he spoke about the show, and he was even giving me ideas like, you all should talk about this and you all should talk about that. I'm like, oh wow.
Man to woman show. We love it. We love it. We love it. They're so into it. They're so enjoying it. And our production team, we have a production team. Oh my God. Like I say that, like we are like national TV. Oh. Our production team went out yesterday. I think, was it yesterday or yesterday they went out and they got some feedback from some of the what the men are saying. Just talking about what's going on. And we're gonna connect with one of the interviews that one of the guys from our production team, big up to you guys, one of the interviews that they conducted yesterday. So that will be sort of right before our break. And then we'll come back. Then we'll bring in the list. So stay tuned, guys.
And share live.
Wanting Trudy.
Share the live. And by the time we come back, this should have been shared. Okay, guys?
50 times, right? You heard Trudy say share the live. Share the live. Okay, so let's connect. I'm just gonna connect with the video so that y'all can see. So here we go.
I'm good. And you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Trying to stay safe.
As we all are.
Yes, definitely. Glendon, I just wanted to ask, based on the current situation in regards to the COVID-19 pandemic, how do you feel about being in lockdown with your family, your significant other, just being in lockdown with your loved ones?
It was an interesting experience, really. You really, it's really sink or swim for a lot of people because at the end of the day, it's different. You're used to pretty much most of your day you're at work, 8 hours a day at work. So changing from 8 hours to being around the family was wow. It was definitely something different, especially every day. But generally you just try and keep occupied. So it was not as bad as it could have been.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah.
Is there anything that your family could have done to, or your significant other could have done to lessen the impact of COVID-19?
I think, in my opinion, we did a pretty good job. We were isolated. We followed all of the guidelines that was put in place by the government. In terms of doing more, well, considering that no one was infected, I feel we did what was sufficient to prevent, the spread of the disease. So, yeah.
Great. Was your livelihood affected in any way? And if so, could you?
Fortunately, not significantly. I mean, it has definitely brought no, I should say no, it has not been impacted at all, considering, I work for the government. So it was a little bit easier. And the approach that the government took was actually very good in the sense, St. Lucia cut their public service employees by 50%. And here we didn't have any of these cuts, everyone. So we were taken care of.
Definitely. And final question, what lessons have you learned as a man during this COVID pandemic?
You better have a second job, because if you lose this one, well, if I had lost this one, then or a skill or something, because the PM made a good point. You should have used this opportunity rather to develop new skills, pick up side hustles, because all in all, it's really highlighted that you could work, let's say in the tourism industry, you could be working 9 to 5, you could be putting all the work, and just like that, it could all come to an end. So you need to have something to fall back on.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Good answer. I really appreciate your time, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and you stay safe.
You too, thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back, guys. Trudy, saw that?
Yes, I did. And that was my cousin.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah. So I'm like, look my cousin even on interview.
home out. One of the things that stay with me is the last part, have a second job, have a side hustle.
Yeah.
That really stayed with me. But we're getting ready for our guest. Our guest is here, live and ready to go. I don't know if she really needs any kind of long introduction, but for some people, especially those of you who might not be from the North or probably interact a lot on the North, you might not know who she is. Nurse Membo, as she's called. I wonder where that name came from. I must find out. Nurse Membo, as she's affectionately known as in the North, has been a nurse for decades. And she recently she retired. She's not just a nurse. She wasn't just a nurse. She was also a midwife. She was a staff nurse at the it's not called Portsmouth Hospital. No, what is it called again? Help me, Trudy. Help with the name.
You'll ask her.
The name was in my head and it just went away. Let me know. Jean wants us if you're on the live. Let us know, right? She has been like one of the most, for me personally, she's been one of the most amazing nurses that I've known. I mean, not to put anybody out of light, because my mom was also a nurse, and they worked together. But she has been, I remember when I had my first son, I didn't want anybody to touch my child. Like, I would leave Roseau and go to Portsmouth to get primary health care services through Nurse Membo, because it was she alone that was touching my child and nobody else, right? And that's how serious it was. She is one of the nurses that you knew you could trust. You knew she would tell you exactly what it is without sugarcoating it. So she give it to you on the rocks with no chaser, and you had to just go ahead and just take heed to her advice. She is one of the people that when you go to her for care, you could tell she truly, absolutely cared about you. Yes, Reginald Armour Hospital. Thank you very much, guys. Jacqueline and all the rest of the guys. Lisa, everybody who's tuned in. The Posse Massive are coming on. She's one of the persons that I probably seen Membo mad probably once or twice, but for like 2 seconds, and then it blows over. She's ready to roll. She is the sweet and sour lady, and everybody in the North knows sweet and sour. The sweet and sour lady. She makes the most delicious treats like gooseberry jam. She makes and she have no shame in her game, and she passing around with her container. Sweet and sour. I think she is a poet. She is done. She's written for people. I remember she did. I could be wrong, but I think I'm right. When Marcia Baptist did Queen, she was the one that did. I think she did Marcia Baptist, or she did Nadira. One of them or both of them. She did both of them. She's shaking her head.
She said she's one best talent at the National Queen Show. So yes,
she'll
definitely tell you.
She's a boss. Look, people are saying sweet and sour, only $1. People are coming on and screaming sweet and sour, only $1. And if you're from the North, you know this lady, and she is about. I mean, we're not profiling Membo today. We're really bringing her on to talk about, her experiences as a taking care of babies
and as a midwife.
As a midwife. But I think she is a phenomenal woman, and I want to give her all her flowers while she's alive and well and sweet and sour. And I give her all her flowers, but she's one of the most amazing nurses. I know people used to say for the nursing practice, many are called few are chosen. Membo was one of the chosen ones. Like hands down, one of the chosen ones. Requires no long introduction, or even a long one.
So, Jael, I think you have the audience really anticipating Miss Parillon.
Yes.
So let's bring her on.
How you doing?
Hi.
How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. Always.
Nice to see you. Jael has given you the intro of all intros. So Jael has all the juice out this morning.
Jael is a sellout.
Nice to have you here with us.
So this morning we're so happy. Well, I don't know if Jael can call you Membo, but this is the first time I am interacting with you. So I'll call you Nurse Parillon. Jael will call you Jael will call you Membo.
Well, everybody on the North knows me as Miss Parillon.
Okay.
Everybody. I mean,
All
Jael
right.
saying a member, that was, in days gone, but everybody knows me as Miss Parillon.
As this
The
Parillon.
sweet and sour.
Sweet and sour lady.
Only $1.
So we saw, well, I am so excited. Jael looks excited too. So I know we're both excited to have you on this morning. And one of the things we really wanted you to talk to us about is, so when we want to get straight into it, some of the concerns and issues that pregnant women have come to you with through your long experience as a nurse and a midwife. So we want some of those details of expecting mothers and what they would normally come to you with.
Okay, let me just say, first of all, thanks for having me on your show. I want to say good morning to all your listeners and viewers. Well, here I am, this Parillon, wife, mother of 4, grandmother of 3, with a supportive husband, married for 43 years, and with a wealth of experience to do with nursing and midwifery, as you have said. Some of the concerns of the mothers are so many. I may leave out quite a bit because I have attended to hundreds of clients and they all have different concerns. Most of them, if they are primates, as we will call them, first-time mothers, from the time they become pregnant, they are concerned, they are worried as to what is going to happen to them. There is a future ahead of them and they want to know how they're going to go about with the pregnancy because most of the time they are single mothers. They want to know if their babies are okay. Sometimes they long for a boy, so they want it to be a boy, or they long for a girl, they want it to be a girl. Most times it comes out in their favor, sometimes not. They want to know if they will have a normal delivery. They are concerned about having their babies where in their own setting. For example, in the past, when I started doing, when I was assigned to Portsmouth, there was that primary health care, taking healthcare to the doorsteps of persons. So most of the deliveries were done at the homes. I don't know if you know that. And a lot of people went for that because, with the situation at home, most people preferred to have their babies at their homes rather than in the hospital. So it worked out very fine for them. Some of them wanted to have their babies in Portsmouth and not go Roseau, as to the number of reasons that they had for that.
Yeah.
Another concern is they wanted to know that the nurse that they felt more comfortable with in doing their antenatal care was the nurse to deliver them. They didn't want anybody else. It's like, you know of my story, you know of my business, and I don't want it sharing with somebody else. It's you and you and you alone, Although some of them really had to be delivered in Roseau, and that was one of their most fearful things, going up to Roseau, because they felt it was a big thing. They'll end up with a cesarean section, and they thought of the worst, right? What again I can see? they felt the worst would happen anytime they go to Roseau, because they're going to meet with people that they are going to probably see for the very first time. Yeah. So they didn't have that kind of confidence and that comfort in leaving a person that they were accustomed to go into somebody new.
I like that you said that, because like even for me, in as much as, you know, I had my baby, I didn't have my baby in Dominica, but the whole process of, or leading up to, I wanted to know that that person, I trusted that person up until the very end, you know. For my first, you know, Dr. Farrar was one of the people who I went to see. For my second, it was Dr. Roberts. So I actually had two different doctors, oncologists actually look after me during that time. So it was very important knowing that, you know, I had a level of trust with that person. And in the event, and one of the things I really truly appreciate, like even though I did not have my second in Dominica, Dr. Roberts, who was my OBGYN for the second, she actually reached out after the fact and was like, "Did you have the baby?" And it shows a level of care, and I think Dominica has that, you know, on that the people who are the doctors and nurses who are there looking after, they really, 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 really care. Like they really show.
Yeah, that is true. And as they get closer to the dates, they become more and more concerned because they wanted to make sure that you are there and that nothing's going to happen to them. Everything will be okay. You know, so as the time gets closer, the concerns increase. Yeah.
Right. Ms. Parillon, in this current time of COVID-19 and us going through this pandemic, what would you advise expectant mothers? Because there's a whole other degree of fear, right? At this time, you know, maybe expecting a baby in the middle of this whole new kind of experience. So
well, if I were to be pregnant around that time, honestly, I would be a little bit fearful and concerned. So hence the reason for their concern. But my advice to them would be to tell them to follow protocol, exercise, the same thing, the same protocol, the same advice to, like they would say, to everybody. You know, you exercise, proper hand hygiene, wash your hands as often as you can, social distancing. What again? Respiratory etiquette. I mean, the same thing applies to everybody. So they, you know, and you just have to trust the nurses that you are with and follow directives.
I like that you say that.
It's right. It's right. Make sure you are fully nourished because, I mean, lack of proper nourishment can put you at risk as well. So
thankfully, Dominica.
You like what I said regarding what?
Dominica is free of COVID. You know, thankfully, you know, like so that is one of the things. Because I read recently, you know, that there was actually a case where the virus transferred to the baby and the person lost their baby. That is a fear, right? That is a fear that you're gonna miscarry, or you're probably not gonna come to full term. The stress on your body. You know, all of those different things that can happen. I wanna go into, because people have been sending in their questions, and I want to get into it. How can a woman who's had who had a miscarriage prepare to try again?
How can a woman? Yeah, well, there are a number of things that causes a woman to have a miscarriage. You may have an incompetent cervix, you know. Some persons, they may miss a fall, and that may trigger off an abortion. You know, a lot of things can trigger a person to have a miscarriage. But you just give them that courage and tell them that you can always try again. And the things that you thought probably caused that a miscarriage, to stay away from it. You start coming to clinic at the very earliest time so that any sort of abnormality can be spotted, checked, and then you can probably be hospital. I know of some people who have had miscarriages and had to be in hospital for their next pregnancy, you know.
I know I can definitely say I know of a few people like that. Some people also say the best way to get over a miscarriage is to get pregnant again. What are your thoughts?
Well, some people look at it as a sort of a replacement, you know, So if you have a baby, then it will help you to forget. I mean, you will still remember that you were pregnant, but like that new replacement will help you to overcome your loss.
Mm.
And it's interesting because some
Because
people feel opposite though. Because I know of a lot of people who've had miscarriages and then the whole thought of even trying again
to get pregnant,
really scares them and they kind of delay on it for quite some time.
yeah, I agree and disagree with you at the very same time, because most people look forward to having a baby, and the fact that they lost the first one, they will always have the tendency to try again, but they will take the necessary precaution so that they don't history doesn't really repeat itself.
Okay.
And Ms. Parillon, you're also a mom, and I know you've had quite a few experiences. How can you tell us a little bit about your own maternity, your pregnancy experiences?
Okay, I have had 5 pregnancies, but 4 children alive. One was born prematurely at 7 months because I had surgery during a pregnancy, and that more or less kind of induced labor. And then I had that baby alive, but very premature, and that baby succumbed and died after 10 days. So that wasn't really a good experience for me. But with the others, as I heard you say earlier on, that your experiences were not all the same. But with me, I had a hyperemesis throat, which is vomiting and morning sickness from day one. So it was kind of a miserable for me. You have some urges. I used to be longing for malt, Vitamalt, and salted sausage and crackers. To me, I could have that 3 times a day. That was my urge. That was my desire during pregnancy. And no sooner I would eat that or drink the malt, here it comes up again. I remember for my first pregnancy, I had to be admitted because I wasn't gaining weight at all. I was spitting, and vomiting. And at that time, it was Dr. Sorrento, Bernard Sorrento, may he still rest in peace. He was the one who was my gynecologist at the time. And then every time I would go to the clinic, I would never put on weight, but the baby was growing anyhow. And then he said, I have to admit you. I started crying. He said, you can't cry because you cannot afford to lose any more fluid. And my skin was dry. And I was admitted at the hospital. I remember that very well. And when he came to me to say, hi, how you doing? And so on, my mouth was full and I wanted to spit and I had a sputum cup next to me. And when he said, how you doing? And I was like, the sputum cup. He said, no, put this sputum cup away. You have to swallow it. And I was like, oh my. Can you imagine? Yes, it was something else, but at the end of it all, you came up with from the time I deliver, all those signs, all the symptoms just disappeared. But I would have that feeling throughout. If I would drive myself, I feel okay. But if I am driven, I have to stop my husband every part of the way to vomit.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh yes. It used to be terrible for me.
So that
So I can understand with other patients. That's why I always say a person to be a midwife. To me, you should have some little experience of giving birth or going through that pregnancy, so you'll be able to better understand somebody else with their problems.
Did that help you though? Did that help you? Do you find that helped you? That going through your own pregnancies, that helped you to deal with your?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now you've also delivered some of your own grandchild. Like what was?
Oh yes, that was my biggest achievement since my retirement. Was having to deliver my first daughter in America, in Florida, in a hospital where only doctors do delivery. I feel not fortunate but blessed. I was so elated.
How did you get to do that?
Well, from the time she told me that she was pregnant, I started going to clinic with her, attending clinics with her. And then the questions I would ask the doctor and the things that I would say, but I never did mention to them that I was a midwife. I would just ask questions and try not to be so, how you'd call it?
Invasive?
Professional. You know, act like a layperson, you know, who doesn't really know nothing but wants to know. And I'd ask certain questions based on some of the things that they would do or say, and so ask questions. And then one time when we were going to make the next appointment, she ran up to me and she said, "Excuse me, ma'am, can I ask you, are you in the medical profession? Are you a nurse by profession?" And I was like, "Why did you ask?" So Nikki said, "Mommy, just tell doctor that you're a nurse." "Yes, doctor, she's a nurse." And from that time, we clicked. So every time I would go to the clinic with my daughter, we would talk on that level.
Wow.
You know, we would talk on that level. And every clinic I was in attendance, every single clinic I was in attendance. And then the day that we saw the doctor, I remember it was on a Tuesday, because I myself used to do my own check-in for her at home, mind you. That's my daughter, and I want the best for her, you know. And when we went by the doctor, when I checked her, we checked her before she went to the doctor. I said, "Nikki, you might be going into labor." We went by the doctor. We didn't say anything. When doctor checked her, doctor said to her, "Don't be surprised that you might go into labor." She, Nikki, watch me, and then she shook her head, you know, because she realized the very same things I tell her, the very same things the doctor said to her. But she still went to work that day. And about 1 o'clock, she called me and she said, "Ma'am, I think I'm in labor, you know." I say, "How do you know?" But by the sound of her voice, I could feel, you know, something was happening. So I said, "Don't go to the hospital now. Make them take you straight by me." And, and then she came by me and I examined her. And then I said, "Yes, you are in labor, but let's wait a little while and then we will move on." And then we call the cab. They came to pick us up and we bring her up there. And then they checked her. And she was well advanced, so they called her doctor, and she said, "What, I saw you this morning?" Doctor said, "Yes." He said, "Oh my God, you are so advanced," and so on. And then they started checking her and checking and checking her, and I was monitoring, watching, and so on. And all of a sudden, I noticed they pull off the plugs, and they said to her, no, they were saying, like, "Turn on that side, turn on this side." So I'm opening my eyes, and I'm watching, I'm wondering, but what's going on? And then they say, "We are going to take her to theater." I said, "Theater for what?" "Oh, the baby's heartbeat dropped." I say, "Heartbeat dropped? Not what I know." Anyway, they overruled, you know, and then they went to theater with her. And I tell you, I sat down on the side and I prayed because I'm a prayer warrior. And I prayed because, you know, like when you're anxious for something and then you're telling God, what is going on now, God? What? You know, a few minutes later, I see they bringing her back out. So the doctor came and he said, "Nikki is in number 7. I said, "So what do you mean? She had the baby?" "No." I said, "She hadn't got the baby. What you mean?" She said, "We got the heartbeat to go back up." I said, "In the first place, there was no problem with the heartbeat." I said, she said, "How do you know?" I said, "I have delivered hundreds of babies, and I know at some point in time, the heartbeat will drop. But, you know, if something is really wrong, it wouldn't just suddenly drop, just like that, you know." And then she hit me, "Power, let's go." And we went in the room. And then I was, you know, talking to Nikki. I didn't mind about them. That's my child. And what I can do for others, I can do more for mine. You know, and that's my grandchild that's coming there and the first one. So I continued with her. And then the doctor said, "Would you like to do delivery?" I said, "Sure." So she said, "Get her dressed." And I put on my gown, I put on my gloves, I put on my mask. And then the 5 nurses, they stood up there watching. And then because all along they did not know I was a nurse. The doctor knew I was a nurse, but not the other nurses. And they were there like touching each other, like watching and what's going on there and so on. And then she said, "You prefer to sit or stand?" I say, "I'll stand." And then I started saying, "Nikki, okay, I think you're almost ready, Nikki, and so, and I'll tell you when to push." So when she's pushing, the doctor said, "You're doing very well." I said, "No, you're not doing well enough." She said, "That's a hard one." I say, "Yes." I said, "No, she's not doing well enough. Don't tell her she's doing good enough. She needs to do better than that." You know, and then, yes, that's my child. And I went to them, you know, and then they stood up watching me. And, you know, I mean, after she delivered and I had the father to cut the cord and everything, and they were just standing on the side and I was in the middle and they were kind of like observers watching what I was doing.
They let you run the show.
When she called me and she said me, "How long have you been doing that?" I told her. She said, "Oh my God, I've learned a lot from you. You've got a wealth of experience." And she said, "I want you on our team." People like you, I want on my team. I said, well, I'm going back probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks. She said, no, 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 no. You need to come and talk to us. People like you, we want to work up here. I say, you serious? I say, well, I had told my daughter already. Once she gets settled, everything is okay. Then, once I'm sure she can manage, I'll be going home because I'm up here long enough. And that's what I did. And my daughter said every time she would pass, she go there, she say, your mom, you haven't come back yet.
You need to go and do consulting work for them. Go and show them how it's done.
Yes, and she asked me, and there was sort of thing she asked me about our management and so on. And she said, oh, I think that's the way to go, and like, picking up some of our little things to implement in what they do to make it much easier, because up there, to be honest, it's all about money making. They put all the buttons and frills to make you see they do so much because there is a cost to it. Here, we deliver for nothing, and you get all the care that you really need. You know?
You remember you're saying that, but and I can talk to my experience with my first. I did not think to this day that I needed to go have a C-section. I needed to, because I remember the nurses coming in, and I was having 1 minute contractions, right? And they kept telling me, "Oh, you need to take medication. We're gonna give you." I tell them I don't want no medication. I tell them if my mother was alive, my mother would have said, "Your body's built for this.
Yes.
I don't need medication. Let me do what I'm supposed to do." And Jovian is then. Jovian's like, "Take the medication." I'm like, "I tell you, I do not need any medication. I do not want to give you anything."
Pause a little while.
My mother.
Pause a little while. As a matter of fact, well, I stayed there. I never moved from that room, right? And when every time they would want to administer something, I would ask, "What is that?" When I said, "No, I don't want her to have that." But it's like I had very little say. So they would ask her, and then she'd say, "Go along with my mom. What my mom says."
Yeah, I kept reiterating that I don't want medication. The nurse would come in regularly, and she's like, your contractions are very strong. Aren't you? You're not in pain?" And I'm like, "I'm in pain, but my body is built for this. I'm not going to die. I will be able to take it and whatever." And Joven's like, "Go take the medication if they tell you it's still." And then, partner, I tell you want me to put you outside. I tell you I can take my pain, right? And I remember my mom being present when my sister delivered, and my mom would say that you don't need to scream down the ward. You don't need to scream down the ward, because screaming is not going to make the baby come faster. You need to save your energy, and because mommy, was a midwife as well. You need to save your energy, and you need to push. That's what you need to focus on. That screaming thing, not going to work.
Oh, I hate my patients screaming, and I say, no, not there. You just do what you have to do, and everything will be okay. No screaming in the business. No screaming in my business.
We'll get Miss Parillon, we're getting so many comments. I think we should read some of them for you.
Oh, please.
A lot of people are tuning in. A lot of people are commenting. Somebody said, Nisha, she said, "Oh my God, she gained only 8 pounds in her first pregnancy, and her son was 7 pounds 4 ounces. And at the end of it, she was so meg." So that's somebody talking about not gaining much weight. And then there's an interesting question there for you. Natasha says, "Boy, those eating cravings. But I want to know, are there instances in Dominica of pregnancies where people didn't know they were pregnant, and then boom, on the day of when they go into labor, that's when they know?" I know we have that show. I didn't. I was pregnant. Have you seen that?
Let me tell you, a pregnancy is 9 months. I mean, at the very beginning, you can make a mistake and say, "Well, I didn't realize I was pregnant at the beginning." But you are pregnant for 9 months, and you don't know you're pregnant? No, that one is sinking. No. No. You don't baby moving in your stomach. You don't feel something different. There's nothing different about you during that period of 9 months. So you get in a period for the 9 months. Don't give me that. It's a joke.
Carla said it's a joke. So,
yes.
Somebody saying to you,
who they never came to clinic. They would stay home, or stay wherever they are, and they just pop in labor. So they have never had any antenatal clinic, so you don't know anything much about them. And sometimes at the stage that they get to you, you have no other choice but to deliver. It's like doing something in darkness. You understand? Especially if they reach at a stage where there is nothing else you can do but to deliver. And then take it up from there. You have to take that person to PMH.
Right. Somebody's telling you this, Parillon. She's saying you saved her first daughter. Blessings to you. So
yes.
you have a lot of people on listening. A lot of people are commenting.
I have a lot of people that I have delivered. Most of them I don't know. I just meet them on the road, especially and the mothers. They say, "That's your nurse, you know. That's your nurse." You know, people meet me and they tell me that's my nurse. And what I feel good about is that when I see them big men and women, and knowing I am the one who brought them to this earth, you know, so it's really an accomplishment for me. I will tell you one thing though. There was one time I went to the bank in Roseau, and the bank, there was a line like a snake, and I wanted to do some transaction, and I was like, oh my God, I keep peeping to see if I would get a little pull string. When I realized there was nobody I knew, I started walking off, but at the same time looking at the back, you know. And then there was that guy, I saw him walking fast towards me, and then he made me sign, come. So he said, what can I do for you, nurse? So I told him, and then he said, okay, hold on a while, let me see what I can do to help you. And he have a seat there, and I sat down there and waited, and then he came and he did it for me. And I was like, oh, and he said, nurse, do you know me, right? I said, I'm not sure. He said, you don't know me? I am so and so son. You delivered me at home, and my mother told me about you. And she said, never, if I cannot do you good, don't do you bad. And I was like, wow. And I walked down the road, and that thing kept ringing in my ears. About 2 days later, I met the mother, and I said, you have a son at the bank? She said, yes, nurse, your boy, we. So I told her, you know, she said, yes, I always talk to him about you, you know, because I remember, to tell you the truth, it's not every delivery that I can remember that I will remember some of them, but, you know, there are certain things about it that I don't remember, but the mothers will remind me, you know, so, but I had some.
Somebody's asking a question about having a regular period. Have you had instances where people have a regular period during their pregnancy?
What you'll have sometimes, some people they have in 14, but it would not be a regular period during pregnancy. No, you'll have little slight spotting, especially post sexual intercourse, you know, things like that. Or if they they'll have little discharges that may have a little slight blood or so in it. But the idea of a normal pregnancy, a normal period throughout pregnancy, I've not come across that one.
Question, Ms. Parillon, as it relates, because you mentioned the sexual intercourse aspect of it. Some people say you continue to have sex during pregnancy because it helps to make way for the baby. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's a myth. Because there are some people, they get pregnant, or let's say their husband or boyfriend got them pregnant and maybe left and went overseas, and they stay there all that time without having intercourse. And it's no problem. They have their babies as any other person, you know, so I feel that's just a myth.
Right.
It probably has, but I mean, it's not a thing I would say, well, yes, you know,
for sure. Yeah. Before, I mean, we're already so close to the end of time. Yeah. But there's something I really wanted to ask Ms. Parillon, make sure I get that in. In your long experience, you know, being a midwife, what changes have you seen really in how we approach antenatal care and even delivery? Anything stands out to you, like, you know, something that was done in the past that's no longer recommended or that type of stuff?
Well, as I said earlier, we used to have a lot of domiciliary deliveries in the past. No, this is no more.
Okay.
This is no more. So most of the patients know they take them to PMH. So you hardly have deliveries on the district as before. But during that time when I worked, We had a lot. I would have like 3 calls in a night.
I felt like I used to have those calls too.
Yeah, and I tell you the experiences on the district. Oh my goodness, they're memorable.
Yes,
I remember I can single out 2 of my most touching experiences on the district doing domiciliary delivery, where I can remember one time when we were in training, Dr. Bernard Sorrendo, he said to us, young ladies, you all have entered a field of midwifery. And when you all are going on the district, and there will become a time when you will have to break a limb to save a child. My whole body shivered. I said, that's not for me now. I'm out of it. I couldn't take it. I just couldn't take it to break a limb of a baby inside to save a life. I mean, saving a life, yes, but to break a limb, to me, that didn't sink in. And then it was a while after I had a baby, a pregnant mother on the district at the home with what we call shoulder dystocia. I don't know if you have heard of it, where the hand, bars, and it prevents you from prevents the baby from getting out. And I was in maybe a short panic because you are the only person there with that. So it's just you and God. And I said, no, that child is not going to die. I have to do something to save that life. And that was when Dr. Sorrendo clicked in. And I push my hand inside and I say to the lady, my dear, I have to break the hand. She said, nurse, she was in so much pain. She said, nurse, do what you want. Do anything, because it's like under pain pressure. You are vulnerable, so it's anything goes. And I had to do something. And when I hit that click, that baby just slide out. And I felt that kind of relief, because you bring a baby to life. Never mind the broken arm, that can be repaired, than to bring the baby out with both arms intact and it's a dead baby. So I felt that form of accomplishment. There was another time when there was a lady in my district who was pregnant with twins. So off and on, she would be kept at the Princess Margaret Hospital. And then one weekend, she was sent home, because, sometimes the patients are stubborn and they are in the hospital, but they tell you, I want to go home for the weekend. I want to go home. Your child's sick. I want to go home. And whatever. They send them home. But I did not know that that patient was home on the district. And I happened to go into the hospital a Saturday. I was kind of off. And when I got there, the sister called me. It was Sister Cara. She said, Parillon, come quick. We were just going to call you. And when I looked, I saw half of the baby was outside by bottom. And I just had to do what I had to do. You have no time to take a book to read at that time. You just have to do. You have to do. You are trying to save a life, and you'll do all it takes. And I had to maneuver myself and put action into place and get that baby out. And one of the fears that I had was that baby, with that manipulation, would come out, as we would say in the symptom, flat out, where you have to give resuscitation and so. And what? I tell you, God sees us and hears us from a distance. And that child came out screaming like nothing happened. I'm here. And then for the second baby, it was a cephalic, head down. So it made things even easier. So we had these 2 babies born this Saturday. I was all in mufti, just coming to get something at the hospital. And that was what. So that means you have to be prepared at all times for all things.
Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate you being on here, with us, sharing, some of the different things, the different experiences that you've had as a midwife, as a nurse. You're retired, and you sound like you still want to get out there.
Well, let me stop you there. You said I'm retired, but I always tell people I am RETYRED. I have put on a new tire because I've never stopped moving. I never stop moving. I hardly sit. I only sit now because I'm having this interview, but I'm always on the go. Up to this morning, after 5 hours on the road doing my walk. I always want to be, keeping fit and on the go. Yes. And I will do it all over again. No regret. I feel that sense of accomplishment, and I'm grateful to God for giving me that opportunity to see this day.
Thank you very much, Ms. Parillon, for coming on with us. We want to get you back on again. If we'd love to have you back on again. There's so much more we could.
Yes, there is a lot more because
our listeners, to send in the questions, and if we have a lot of questions, we'll have Ms. Parillon come on again and share, and we'll give you the questions ahead, so you're ready for them. You can ask all the questions. So you can always send in your questions to W2W. That's W2W.vibesradio at gmail.com. If you want to send in your questions or you want to send it via text message, you can do so as well. But we really appreciate you coming on here and sharing with us. Right, Trudy?
Yes, thank you so much, Ms. Parillon. You gave us so much information and those stories that we have people there on the live saying you are the greatest storyteller. You have so much love being poured out for you on the live stream, and we really appreciate you taking the time to be with us this morning on Woman to Woman.
Yes, I appreciate it. Although it's a woman to woman talk, but in pregnancy, I hate the idea of leaving out the men, because the men are a very integral part of a baby's life. And without them, we won't have a baby or a person pregnant. Yeah. So next time, I think we should have something more on the men, because sometimes I feel they are left out. Yes. When we leave them out, they stay out. So we need to bring them in, and that is one of the problems I was having at my clinic, that most women come and it's like I'm pregnant for myself. They don't bring their partners, and we want the partners to be very much involved because they are part of the baby's life. Very integral part. Yes. Most welcome. I'm happy that I was able to do a little bit of sharing with you all. I hope you all did appreciate it. And to my viewers and listeners, thanks for being there and listening.
Thank you.
We gotta have you on again. We gotta have her on again. That was awesome, right?
Right. So, Ms. Parillon needs to come back again. We had a lot of people trying to get, reach her and speak to her. So please send in those questions so we could maybe have them in advance. And the next time we have her on, we can just go straight to y'all's questions. Yes.
Definitely. I mean, that would be helpful. That would make our work a lot easier. And we make sure that we get all your questions in. And again, you can remain anonymous. So you don't have to, because there were questions coming in that we didn't reveal the names of the people. So we want to encourage you. You can do that, and we will respect your privacy. You don't have to worry about that, man. So many stories, man. When she spoke about the broken arm and stuff, was scary. I actually had somebody come up our stairs, and they started giving birth up on top of the stairs.
Wow!
And we were right there.
There. I'm sure there are hundreds of other, stories like that that a midwife could possibly tell. But Jael, we past the time.
We were past our time. We're 5 minutes past our time.
So it's time to go. But we definitely will be back tomorrow, same time, same place, Woman to Woman.
Another guest. We encourage you guys, go follow our Facebook page, Woman to Woman. We'll be posting the guests will be coming in the day after, the day before. So you'll know. So if you feel like you want to ask questions before the guest, so you can get your questions in, it's good to get your questions in early so that, you might think of something to do and like, oh, they're having so-and-so come in. Let me send my question in. Go like our Facebook page, Woman to Woman. You can't miss it, and follow us and share it live.
So see you tomorrow, guys.
Stay tuned. Coming up next, Chum Dada takes it away with the Rhythm Nation show on your favorite radio station, Vibes Radio. Thanks again, guys, for listening. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.